All right, let's move to the NFL where we had big news last weekend. Saturday, the Seattle Seahawks, well, they completed a blockbuster trade. They got all-pro safety Jamal Adams. They got him from the Jets. And we also saw a fourth-round pick go to Seattle. And the Jets, in return, they get two first-round picks in the 2021 and 2022 drafts. And they also get a 2021 third-round pick. And they also get safety Bradley McDougald. Jamal Adams, well, he'd made his desire for a new contract very public with the Jets. And I guess the Jets simply didn't want to pay him or couldn't pass up Seattle's whale of an offer. All right, Cody, so who got the better end of this trade and why?
So I might be a bit in the minority here, but I really like this for Seattle. I do. I'm telling you, I think a lot of people look at the haul of what the Jets returned with, and they go, well, I mean, that's so good. How could that not be the best thing ever? But I like Jamal Adams to Seattle a lot. You know, that's not a team I thought of originally when we had first talked about this about a month or two ago when he had made his contract disputes kind of well known. It wasn't a team I was thinking maybe more like Baltimore, kind of really going all in or something with that young team they got. They can still sort of swing the salary, but Seattle kind of has that cover three, cover one type defense they love to run. That's the defense they ran back with Legion of Boom. You play a lot of base defense, a lot of zone. You kind of let your players just do their thing, and a lot of times it revolves around one high safety and your box safety getting to kind of go around and do whatever he wants, that's Jamal Adams, like perfect thing right there. And we know Pete Carroll likes to coach the team he wants more than the team he has. And as of late, the Seahawks have not had the talent they used to have on that defense, and it's let them down. They've had a lot of series where they needed one more play, right? Because we know Seattle's good for the playoffs. Russ is getting you to the playoffs. He's going to get you 10, 12, 13 wins. You're going to get to the playoffs with him. But the last couple of years, they failed to have that difference maker, that one more play, that one more interception, that one more possession. And it's cost them. It's cost them in the playoffs. And Adams, he's your guy when you're talking about a guy that can come in and make that much of a difference. When you look at what Minkah Fitzpatrick did for the Steelers last year, why wouldn't Jamal Adams do the same thing? Minkah took a pretty good defense and made them elite in a lot of categories and floated a team that shouldn't have been that good. I mean, you had Rudolph and the other dude, I don't even remember his name anymore, that they're messing around at quarterback. That team should have won 3 games, and they won a lot more because of how good that defense was. And you can't tell me Minkah Fitzpatrick wasn't a huge difference in maker. And what I like about Jamal Adams is it's really going to free him up to go back to what they like to do, which is that cover 3 defense. You have, if Quentin Dunbar can play, he's on that exempt list right now. Hopefully he gets that sorted out. And you have Trey Flowers as well. They're great man coverage corners. So if you want to run that as well, you also have that option. But when you have a safety like Jamal Adams in the backfield, you get the slot coverage. He can cover in the slot. He can cover guys like George Kittle. He can guy you're going to see twice a year. He can also free up your corners to play a little more aggressive. Your corners can play a little more man because they know they've got someone behind them that's got their back. It just makes your secondary better. And let's not even talk about the fact that Seattle has an absolutely anemic pass rush. These guys they were pretty much the worst. You could make an argument they were the worst pass rush last year, and that's with Jadeveon Clowney, who is no longer on the premise as far as we know. Jamal Adams' 6.5 sacks last year would have led Seattle. You know how depressing that sounds? That's pretty bad. So we know Jamal Adams can roam around. He can come up, line up at a blitz, and create a lot of pre-snap motion and throw some teams off. And he's going to make your pass rush better too because, hey, if I don't have a great pass rush, but I've got a guy like Jamal Adams and some of these really good secondary players they have, and Bobby Wagner, of course, can't forget him running around, that's going to help give your pass rush a few more seconds, and if maybe a second or two that quarterback holds the ball and your average players rushing the passer can maybe make those difference-making plays that you are lacking right now. So I think a lot of people just look at this as they got a little bit better at what they're already good at, but it's not going to be a big difference. And I would argue that maybe Jamal Adams is a big difference. You're in the NFC. There's a lot of weapons just within your division. Again, George Kittle, DeAndre Hopkins, and maybe Cooper Kupp even. Some of the guys on the Rams, they got a lot of talent on offense. And then you have guys, Julio Jones. I mean, the list goes on, Michael Thomas. So you need all the help you can get on defense, especially if you're Seattle. And when I go to grade this trade, I've got to think that Seattle did a good job. I'm giving them a B+ because they did give up a lot. The 2 first-round picks, a third-round pick, and a quality player. That's a lot. That's more than the Jacksonville got for Jalen Ramsey, which is 2 firsts and a fourth. So you have to temper a little bit because it seems like Seattle maybe could have kind of beat him down a little bit, or maybe Seattle just wanted him, and if he was available, they didn't care and just threw here's your blank check. We just want him. We don't care. Maybe that was the case. So I do give it a B plus, but I like this. I like that you got a legitimate all-pro talent to help Russell Wilson in his prime, in the prime of his contract, and he's not getting any cheaper or younger. So why not go for it? And, for the Jets, hey, I'm sticking to my guns here. You don't get better by trading your best players. You just don't. I'm sorry. It is like scratching off $1 million lottery ticket and then taking it to the lottery office and buying $1 million worth of lottery tickets. Like, you might get lucky again, sure, but what if you do? You just gonna go trade that one in too? Like, you've got to start building around your talent at some point. These teams that aren't good don't understand that. And yeah, it's a great haul in theory, but what if you draft someone that never sees a snap because of injury or off the field issues, and then one of those picks doesn't even matter and the other one's just a role player? Well, I'd much rather have Jamal Adams than that. So yeah, I'm giving the Jets a C plus because they did get a serious haul, but I'm sticking to my guns, man. You don't get better by trading your best players. So I think Seattle won the trade.
Yeah, this huge. First of all, let's just say huge haul for the Jets. But the way I'm looking at this trade, short term, the Seahawks win this trade because Jamal Adams is a top 3 safety in this league, in my estimation, and I got a lot of respect for Bradley McDougald. And I think that's also significant when you look in this trade because the Jets, it's not like they just give up Jamal Adams and they didn't get anything back that can help them right now. McDougald's a good player, but he's not Jamal Adams. And when I look at Seattle, and I think one of the points you brought up was a great one, George Kittle, that's a huge deal because Jamal Adams is a guy who can help you in that regard. And now, not only that, and it doesn't have to be just Jamal Adams by himself. The 49er passing game is so reliant on George Kittle. Now you have a situation where you have linebackers like Bobby Wagner and KJ Wright, and now you got Jamal Adams, and don't forget about Quandre Diggs. So you got a lot of different guys you can work in there on George Kittle. And so that's a huge plus. And Jamal Adams, he's a guy that, in my mind, transcendent talent. You look at the way his career has progressed so far, 3 seasons, high-end production. You talked about the sack numbers, that there are metrics that actually back up his talent. It's not one of these defensive players who you can't find metrics like a shutdown corner who doesn't have the interceptions because he's not getting the ball thrown his way. No, he's got the actual numbers to back up what we see with our very eyes. And when you look at this move in terms of the NFC West, I believe this makes Seattle the favorite in this division. I would bet on them to win that division because you couple this with San Francisco, I think there's going to be somewhat of a Super Bowl hangover. I think that's what we're going to see. And plus, when you look at Russell Wilson, he's going to carry that offense. He's going to do what he does. But you just need a little bit more from that defense. And man, did you get some help in a superstar? And then you talk about the some of the other pieces in that secondary. I don't know if you can get Quentin Dunbar on the field with the legal troubles he's got going on right now. But if you can get him back somehow, and don't forget about Shaquille Griffin, he's a stud. He's another stud you have on that defense. And when you think about what they're formulating right now, could it be that Pete Carroll's trying to give you a little Legion of Boom 2.0? I don't know if these guys quite measure up to that. I think Jamal Adams probably is the only guy strictly talent that we would look at to say, oh yeah, Cam Chancellor, Jamal Adams, that's a little bit of equality going on. I'm not saying Shaq Griffin is Richard Sherman, and I'm definitely not saying Quandre Diggs is Earl Thomas, but these are really, really good players that can do things for you. And I think if you combine that with Bobby Wagner, who is an absolute stud, no denying it, best middle linebacker in the NFL perhaps. But if you can get a little bit of improvement from that pass rush, the Seattle defense could be much improved and could complement what Russell Wilson and those guys do on the offensive end very well. And I think Seattle's a team to beat in the NFC West with this move. I will say on the other hand, the Jets could make this an even deal and perhaps come out better, but you're gonna have to hit on these picks. And we know how it goes. I mean, think about it. Jamal Adams, you get him with the 6th overall pick, and this was what we talked about, a high-end contributor, and you let him go you just can't get on the same page with him. And remember, it stems out for trade talks that you had with the Cowboys last season. when Jamal Adams was under the impression that he was untouchable and could not be traded, which is we know it's a fallacy. We know that's not real. It's the business of football.
Right.
But that's kind of the situation the Jets put them in when you have those type of leaks, and the relationship, in my estimation, it was never repaired. So it continued to disintegrate. And of course, what is it when a guy gets disrespected? He wants a new contract. They couldn't get that done. And as far as the haul that they get, it's a big haul. And we discussed this. This is what it was going to take. You got one of the best players at his position, similar to a Jalen Ramsey. Jalen Ramsey was 2 first-round picks. Jamal Adams got 2 years. He got 2 years. 2 years on the cheap that they're going to have him. So, yeah, it was going to take 2 first-round picks. They also get a third. They get an actual contributor right now, McDougal. That's a big haul, but it's going to come down to what those picks turn out to be. And with Seattle, I mean, I don't anticipate them to, go in the basement anytime soon. So those picks are likely going to be in the I would say mid to high 20s, low 20s if we're being conservative. So it's going to be tough. They're also, the Jets also going to have their own first round picks, but that's what it's going to be predicated on. I mean, this is one of those type of moves where you look at a general manager and say, we're going to find out about you when it comes to draft time, Joe Douglas. This is one of those things that we got to pay attention to moving forward. But I will say for the Jets right now, this is just one of those things. If you're a player on that if you're another like a big name player on that Jets team, not that they have many, but think about what I've broken down on several occasions. You had three top end talents up the middle on that defense: Quinnen Williams, C.J. Mosley, and Jamal Adams. I would think that would be something you would want to build around. Give Greg Williams the foundational pieces he needs on that defense. And you give up the best one. Jamal Adams is their best player, period. You don't have him anymore. When we look at the AFC East, we talk about how open it is with the loss of Tom Brady. But when you look at the Jets, they're the one team I could see this season going completely sideways. I mean, I don't think it's beyond the pale of reason to think they could be the worst team in that division, because you're just giving away talent. And we talked about how Sam Darnold, even though you've upgraded in some respects with your first-round pick, Mekhi Becton, you also get Denzel Mims. But it's just hard to believe in the Jets right now. And it's going to come down to what they do with these future picks. But right now, it's not a good situation. And when you look at Adam Gase and Joe Douglas, better start improving. And it better happen quickly. That's all I got to say about it.
Yeah, I would add in for the Jets' perspective, one of the things you could be hinging around is Sam Darnold. This could be a bit of hedging your bets going into next season. If Sam Darnold has more struggles, which he probably will because you're trading all of his good players, which is kind of the vicious cycle these teams get caught in. Ask me how I know. But, how do you fairly evaluate him? But if he has his struggles, and if you look at him and go, he's probably not our guy, you do have more ammo now. So if you want to go get you Justin Fields, Trevor Lawrence, list goes on next season, you'll have more ammo to do so, but you're back to square one, like we said. So could be something the Jets were thinking about.